Have you ever been cheated on? And the night everything turned. I still remember the way he looked at me that night, like I was the only person in the world that mattered. His hand brushed mine under the table at our favorite little Italian restaurant, and his smile was the kind that could make your knees weak. I was in love. Stupidly, recklessly, hopelessly in love with the man sitting across from me. His name was Evan. We'd been together for nearly 3 years. He was charming, attentive, and always had this way of making me feel like I was safe with him. I trusted him. Every single cell in my body trusted him. And trust is a dangerous thing when given to the wrong person. The first red flag came about 6 months before everything unraveled. He'd started being distant. Not in an obvious way. Just little things. A text left on delivered for a few hours. A new password on his phone after years of having none. Sudden, late nights at work, though I knew for a fact his job rarely required overtime. Babe, he'd say with that perfect little smirk, "You're overthinking. I'm just busy." And I'd believe him. Because I wanted to. I told myself relationships go through rough patches, that I was being paranoid, that if I loved him enough, everything would be okay. But then, red flag number 2, he started dressing differently. More cologne, crisp shirts, shined shoes. He said it was self-improvement. I thought it was sexy at first, not realizing it was him improving for someone else. The third red flag? He stopped looking at me the way he used to. His eyes used to light up when I walked into a room. Lately, they just flickered, like a flame almost gone out. But the real breaking point came one rainy Wednesday night. Evan said he was going to a networking dinner after work. That wasn't unusual. He loved pretending he was the ambitious, hustling type. He kissed me on the cheek, grabbed his keys, and left in a rush. An hour later, I realized he'd forgotten his portfolio on the kitchen counter. He never went to these dinners without it. I called him. No answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. A knot formed in my stomach. But still, I told myself, he probably just didn't hear it. Against my better judgment, I grabbed my coat and drove to the hotel where these events were usually held. The rain hammered down on the windshield as if warning me to turn around. But I didn't. When I reached the parking lot, his car was there. And next to it, another woman. She was pressed against him, laughing. He had his hand on the small of her back, leaning down to kiss her like he'd kissed me 1,000 times. The umbrella they shared framed the scene like a cruel photograph. I froze. For a moment, it didn't feel real. It felt like a bad TV show. But it was real. Too real. I didn't march up to him. I didn't scream. I didn't cause a scene. I just stood there, watching. Because that moment, that image was burned into me forever. I turned around and left without him ever knowing I was there. Back home, I sat on the kitchen floor in my soaked clothes, my mind blank. The world felt too quiet, like someone had sucked the air out of it. At 1 a.m., he came home, smelling of her perfume. "Hey, babe," he said casually, as if he hadn't just kissed someone else under an umbrella. "Dinner was good?" I asked softly, forcing my voice not to break. "Yeah," he replied. "Just tired. I'll tell you tomorrow." And then he kissed my forehead. It took everything in me not to scream. The next morning, I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, and something inside me clicked into place like a lock turning. Revenge wasn't an impulse. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. I wasn't going to beg for an explanation. I wasn't going to make it easy for him to twist the narrative. I was going to make sure the person who made me feel disposable learned what it meant to lose everything he took for granted. Over the next few weeks, I became a quiet storm. Evan thought I'd gone back to normal. He'd kiss me good morning. I'd smile. He'd leave for work dinners. I'd wave from the porch. But behind the scenes, I learned everything. First, I found out who she was. Her name was Lily, 26. She worked at a nearby marketing firm. She'd met Evan at some bar after one of those supposed networking nights. She wasn't just a fling. She thought she was his girlfriend. Then, I checked his finances. He'd given me access before. Big mistake. I discovered hotel bookings under fake names, dinner receipts, and gifts I'd never received. He'd been using our shared savings to fund his little double life. That was the moment the revenge plan took shape in my mind like a puzzle falling into place. I needed time. So I acted sweet. I cooked his favorite meals. I left notes in his bag. I laughed at his jokes. I even pretended to be busy myself, so he felt secure. The more I played the doting partner, the more careless he got. He stopped hiding the texts on his phone. He'd smile when he got messages, typing fast, thinking I wasn't watching. I even helped him pick an outfit for one of his dinners. The man didn't have a clue. The whole time, I collected proof. Every receipt, every text, every hotel booking, screenshots, photos, bank statements. I didn't want just to leave. I wanted to make sure when I did, his entire web of lies burned down with him. Revenge is cleaner when you have the right audience. I told no one at first, but then I reached out to someone unexpected. Lily. I asked to meet her at a cafe near the river. She didn't know who I was, just that I'd texted her from an unknown number saying, "It's about Evan." She showed up wearing a bright red coat and a nervous smile. "Who are you?" she asked as soon as she sat down. "I'm his partner," I said softly. Her smile dropped like a stone in water. For a few seconds, she just stared at me. Then she whispered, "No, he said you were his ex." I slid my phone across the table. Messages, photos, proof. She covered her mouth. "He said he loved me," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. I didn't hate her. She hadn't lied to me. He had lied to both of us. "I want to make sure he never does this again," I said. Her eyes hardened. "I'm in." Evan's birthday was coming up. Big occasion. He loved attention, loved pretending his life was perfect. He was planning a huge dinner party with friends, coworkers, and a few family members. He told me to wear something stunning because, in his words, we're the perfect couple. That night was going to be my stage. I spent the next 2 weeks preparing everything. I booked the private room at the restaurant. I arranged for a slideshow to play on the projector, but it wasn't going to be filled with happy memories. Oh no, it was going to be the truth. The night of the party, I looked beautiful. I wanted to. Red dress, hair done, confidence sharp as a blade. Evan kissed me on the cheek as we walked in. "You look perfect," he whispered. I smiled. "I know." The room was packed with people who thought they knew him. Toasts were made. Laughter filled the air. Halfway through, I stood up and tapped my glass. "Everyone," I said sweetly, "I made a little something for Evan, a slideshow of our wonderful time together." He beamed like the narcissist he was. The lights dimmed. The projector flickered on. At first, it was sweet photos of us. Vacations, birthdays, smiles. Everyone awed. Then the images changed. Hotel bookings. Receipts for jewelry I never received. Text messages with Lily. Photos of the two of them under the umbrella. You could have heard a pin drop. Evan froze, his wine glass halfway to his lips. Someone in the back whispered, "Oh my God." I turned to him slowly. "Happy birthday, Evan," he stammered. This isn't what it looks like." I tilted my head. "Really? Should I play the audio too?" Because yes, I'd recorded a few of their phone calls. Nothing like hearing a man say, "I love you" to someone else while lying to your face. Lily stepped out from the back of the room. I'd invited her. She looked stunning in that same red coat, her chin held high. "Hi, Evan," she said sweetly. You should have seen the color drain from his face. "What the hell is this?" he hissed, but his voice shook. "This," I said calmly, "is every lie you've ever told, finally getting the spotlight you love so much." The room erupted. Friends and family turned away from him. Coworkers whispered. Someone muttered, "I knew something was off with him." He tried to storm out, but Lily blocked his way. "You told me you loved me," she spat. "You said you were single." He looked between us, sweating. I can explain." "No," I cut in. "You can pack." Because here's the thing. I'd already emptied our joint account. Legally mine, since most of it was my salary anyway. The apartment lease? In my name. His precious car? Also in my name. I'd been the one holding everything up financially. He'd been living off me while cheating on me. By the end of the night, his birthday celebration turned into his public unraveling. I kicked him out the next morning. No yelling, no tears. Just quiet finality. He begged at first. "I made a mistake. I love you." "You love the comfort?" I corrected. "Not me." Then he tried to get angry. "You humiliated me." I smiled faintly. "You did that all on your own." Within a week, he was sleeping on a friend's couch, reputation in ruins. Lily, to her credit, didn't give him a second chance either. She messaged me a week later. Open quote. "Thank you for telling me. I hope you get everything good that he couldn't give." Close quote. And I did, because I chose to. Months later, I sat at that same Italian restaurant. Not with Evan, just with myself. And for the first time in a long time, I felt light. Revenge isn't always about destroying someone else. Sometimes it's about removing them from the pedestal they built on your back. It's about taking your power back. Evan lost everything he thought he controlled: his friends, his comfort, his little double life. And me? I gained everything I'd forgotten I had myself. He tried texting me months later. Open quote, "Can we talk? I miss you." I was stupid. Close quote. I didn't reply, because karma isn't something you rush. It had already caught up with him. His job had found out about his little extracurricular activities because one of his coworkers had been at that birthday party. He wasn't fired, but his image was shredded. He lost friends, lost respect, lost control. Meanwhile, I flourished. New job, new apartment, new life. One rainy night, almost exactly a year after I saw him under that umbrella, I walked past the same hotel parking lot. Evan was standing there, alone this time. No umbrella, no Lily, no smile. He looked at me like a man who realized too late what he'd lost. I didn't say a word. I just walked past him. The rain fell exactly the way it had that first night, but this time it didn't sting. It felt like cleansing, like freedom. People often ask me if I'd ever take him back. No, because when someone cheats, they don't just betray your love. They betray your trust, your dignity, your sense of self, and no amount of apologies can fix the version of you they shattered. But what you can do, what I did, is build a new version of yourself. One stronger, smarter, and untouchable. He thought he could cheat and walk away clean. He thought I'd break. But instead, I let karma hold the umbrella this time. Like and subscribe. Share if this happened to you or someone you know.